Happy New Year. Happy 2023. Yes, I know it's March 2023, but yes, let's go with it. Anyway, so Chancellor D here with my friend Dani.
Hello.
And we're back again with more content and new podcasts to go. So, and we're winging it.
Yeah, we're just going to just talk about everything that's been coming out this year. Nothing too specific, just give our general thoughts. So, let's get started.
So, we're just share with you all. When we were hanging out on the comic book shop, picked up some comics, new comics, old comics. I'm hunting down old comics because I love stuff from the Golden Age, Silver Age, present day, but I love stuff from the 90s specifically. But I had a joke for you when we were at dinner.
Okay.
So, they were playing, what was the name of that song?
We Are Family?
One before it, Car Wash.
Oh, yeah.
So, it reminded me of something when I was a kid.
Uh-huh.
TLC song, Chasing Waterfalls. So, it's not related, I know.
Uh-huh.
But it just reminded me of something I did as a kid.
Okay.
Hearing that song and being a Power Rangers fan, I didn't hear the word Chasing Waterfalls. I thought Jason Waterfalls. So, my brain associated that with Jason from Power Rangers.
Oh, my goodness.
So, I was like, Jason Waterfalls? And my brain as a kid put that as as a Power Ranger. So I did not get that until I got older and actually read lyrics. And I was like, oh, this is an opportunity of misheard lyrics. Just wanted to share that.
Okay.
Random story.
Well, since you brought up Power Rangers, I know today we were talking about, the Power Rangers and the upcoming special they were doing, which is, you said next month?
It is going to be April 19th on Netflix. It's Once Upon a Ranger.
Okay, and you said it's going to be 55 minutes.
Yes, I believe it's going to be 55 minutes. If it changes, it changes.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to the Power Ranger special, but it's going to be a little bittersweet because I'm excited to see some of the Rangers get back together. I'm specifically excited to see Aisha. We saw her at BlurredCon, and she just seems like a really sweet person, so it's kind of cool to see her back. And I'm actually really excited to see her, Rocky, and Adam, because I remember when those three came in and took over for Jason, Trini, and Zach. So, and I always liked the trio of Rocky, Adam, and Aisha. So, I think it's great to see them in this special and acknowledging the impact they had on Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. But, of course, it's going to be... it was already kind of sad because we know that this revolves around Trini's daughter, and we know that the original actress passed away. And now with the passing of Tommy, Jason David Frank, it's just going to be kind of sad, and it's going to be interesting to see who is going to be wearing that Green Ranger costume.
Yes, I agree, because some footage has come out where people have been breaking it down, trying to get any little glimpse that they can of anything from the trailer that was released and any pictures that were put out from Entertainment Weekly and stuff like that. And yes, we do see a Green Ranger, someone in a Green Ranger outfit. Mm-hmm. It would be nice to know, was this Jason David Frank? But I think they would have announced that he filmed this.
Yeah, I think it would have been announced too,
so that we would have known. But I haven't heard anything. But
yeah, so that's one thing. I'm curious to see who's going to be playing this Green Ranger. I'm definitely going to tune in because I was a huge Mighty Morphin Power Ranger fan. I remember, and it came out when I was in elementary school. So I remember I would just, during class, me and my friends would sit around and I would tell them stories, basically fan fiction of Power Rangers. And I would assign, my classmates to a specific character. So my friend Esmeralda, she was always Trini. And then there was a guy, his name was JoJo. He was, new. And so he was Tommy. So I like, everybody was somebody, and I would just tell stories. So I'm so excited to see this special and to see maybe Billy or Zach in a leadership role. I think that would be really cool. So yeah, so Power Rangers, it sounds like a good one.
It does, and you mentioned Billy as well. I believe this is the first time David Yost has come back as well with Power Rangers. Funny enough, I got to see him at a convention, but it's like I realized it was him after. I was like, oh, cool. He had most of the Power Rangers together, so I saw him, and then being shy, like you want to meet your heroes, but then you're kind of shy. Mm-hmm. So I was like, I think the only person we went to that GalaxyCon. It's where I met Nakia.
Okay, yep. So, and I had to kind of push you to go talk to her.
Cause I was like, I want to meet my heroes, but it's like, it's one thing where you see these amazing people on screen, and when they do voice acting, like Adam, he's a voice actor and other things as well. So you get to see their work and get to know them and through their roles. But it's a different feeling when you actually see them in front of you, because then it's like all the years of, hey, I've seen your content, I've absorbed it, and now it's my moment to have my 5 minutes of a conversation with you.
Yep.
And yes, you did push me, and I thank you for that.
Yep.
And then you mentioned Aisha. I got to meet Karen a few months ago, and it was a different feeling going to a comic book shop, and she's there, and you get to have a conversation. And it was very nice just to get to have a meeting with them and actually talk. And then we have a little 4-second video where we do some morphin' time.
Yes.
And I have that. I'm saving that. I'm like, yeah, I put that online, on Facebook and Instagram. Yes, I'm saving this and got my picture. So that is now, I've now met 4 Rangers. I've met Jason David Frank, Amy Jo Johnson, Nakia Burris, and Karen Ashley. So I'm like, I need to meet another one to give me 5.
Yeah. And the good thing is, because we do like to be on the convention scene, I mean, the Rangers show up at conventions, so it'll be easy peasy, I think, to meet some more Rangers. And one thing that I wish I had done, I think it's Boom Studios. They're doing the Power Rangers comics right now.
It's good.
Yeah, and so I remember they had just did this issue where it was the original Mighty Morphin characters plus the 3 who replaced Trini, Zach, and Jason. And I was so excited. I was like, and it had all of them on the cover. And I was like, I want to buy this comic book, and I want to take it with me to different conventions and just get everyone, who's still around to sign it. I just thought that would be so cool. And I just hate that I missed out on the chance to get Tommy's signature on that comic book. But, I'm still looking forward to it. And let's go to the next topic.
Yeah, I have one more thing to say before we go to the next topic.
Okay.
So, Power Rangers. I'm going to now share this with the world, since we're talking about Power Rangers. A lot of people grew up with Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, and we learned later on it came from Super Sentai and everything. Mm-hmm. But I felt like, keep in mind, growing up in the 90s and early 2000s. So a lot of people grew out of Power Rangers when it went to Power Rangers Zeo and Turbo and so on and so forth.
Yep.
But I was one that kept watching the shows. Mm-hmm. But I felt like I had to watch them in secret just because I didn't want to be made fun of. Mm. So I was the kid that kept watching Zeo, and then it went to Turbo, then Space. Power Rangers in Space is my favorite Power Rangers season. And then I will defend that show. And then Lost Galaxy and a few others. And then eventually, with no reasoning of saying I'm going to stop, mm-hmm. I just kind of didn't know where to watch it, because at that point it was moving networks and I didn't know where things were. And then, life gets busy. Yep. But I just finally now want to share that, to say, it's okay to keep watching your shows, and you don't have to hide them from people, and just enjoy your life. That's all I gotta say.
Okay.
But next.
Okay, so the next thing I want to talk about, so I am a huge fan of the Creed movies. So Chancellor D has not seen the Creed franchise yet.
Or Rocky.
So, well, I haven't seen all of the Rocky movies. The only Rocky movie I have seen is honestly the last Rocky movie. And I don't even know what made me watch that movie, but I just watched it. And then when the Creed franchise started, I was like, well, you know what? I'm going to support this. This looks kind of cool. So, I haven't seen Creed 3 yet. I'm going to see that tomorrow. But, I just wanted to mention that Creed 3 is doing really well at the box office. Basically, its first week in the box office, it is the, highest gross domestic grossing opener for any sports movie. And it was Michael B. Jordan's directorial debut, so that's really awesome. And so now reports have came out that they are working on doing a Creedverse. And so basically Michael B. Jordan has said that they're looking at spin-offs that will go across TV, across movies, maybe a spin-off for his daughter. I haven't seen the story yet, but I do know that they said that his daughter in the movie, she wants to be a fighter. There have already been rumors about a Drago spin-off, and he wants to do an anime. He's a huge anime fan. He based some of the boxing scenes off of anime, so he wants to do an anime, which I think that would be super dope as a boxing anime. I think there's a lot you can do with that. I think showing the boxers powering up during the fight, I think that would be really sick. So I'm really looking forward to that. So the reason I wanted to bring that up, so I have a Blurred group, and so I was telling them about the Creedverse, and I was like, well, you know what, and I know that there's been some issues with Sylvester Stallone, and, he's not in Creed 3 because he's upset with the owner of Rocky because, he feels like he created Rocky, he should have some ownership in Rocky. I'm not going to debate that because, I don't know what his contract was, the deal was. But I was, telling the Blur group, I don't know how he would feel about it, especially with it being called the Creedverse, because, it all did come from Rocky. And so I was telling my Blur group, I would think to call it the Rockyverse over the Creedverse, but I would still let Michael B. Jordan be the face of it. Because, at this point, I feel like Creed has really revitalized that franchise. And, Creed is the one who's in the ring fighting now. So, let Creed be the face of it. Let Michael B. Jordan be the one, with the creative control. And, but I was thinking, call it the Rockyverse. It's almost like the Arrowverse on the CW, everything went through Arrow. So I could see calling it the Arrowverse even as other shows were becoming popular, like The Flash. But I do want to bring this up too. So when I was telling my Blurred group that, one of the guys in the group was like, name one good Rocky movie that wasn't based off of his relationship with Creed, ? It's been the Creedverse this entire time and we never realized it. So he said Creed 1, or Rocky 1, it was a Creed draw with Rocky. 2, Creed is defeated by Rocky. 3, Creed retrains Rocky after Rocky loses the championship belt. And 4, Creed gets killed and Rocky gets revenged. So I was like, you know what? Because I've only seen the last Rocky, so I didn't realize the big impact that Apollo Creed had in the Rocky movies. And so a different Blurred, he was like, I saw a video recently where someone said this, probably on Instagram. So what do y'all think about the Creedverse? Should it be the Creedverse or should we call it the Rockyverse? And is my Blurred friend correct? Has Creed been underlying the major catalyst of the Rocky movies the entire time? I think it's an interesting conversation. I would love to see Sylvester come back to the franchise. But let me know what you think. Do you think it should be the Creed verse or should it be the Rocky verse?
I will add on to it as someone that is objective to it. I know the phrases of Adrian, that dramatic effect. Mm-hmm. But I know things. I know that Apollo Creed was in the first movie. I didn't know to the extent as your group member said, but if I think of it that way, I can see their perspective as there was the match, the draw, then Rocky wins, and then the training. I can see that. Mm-hmm. I think of it just like you said, the Arrowverse. The whole Arrowverse started because of Arrow. Then we had to spin off with Flash, and then Legends of Tomorrow, and so on and so forth. Mm-hmm. But I think because the first set of movies are called Rocky is your protagonist. He is your focal point. Again, from an objective standpoint, he is your focal point. He is the one that they painted as your hero figure. So we are following Sylvester Stallone around as your main protagonist. And then now with the Creed movies, it's Apollo Creed's son. So I can see it two ways. I can see it calling it the Creed verse. I can see it the Rocky verse. Maybe call it the Rocky Creed verse. Who knows, to kind of satisfy both parties. Mm-hmm. Just because if we go by naming convention, Rocky came first.
Right. And you're right. Rocky came first. I agree with that.
Or you call it Philadelphia.
But they're already talking about a Creed 4. So I think there were 6 Rocky movies. So Creed is very fast. Is catching up to that number. We've already got the 3rd Creed, and they're already talking about Creed 4. And if it continues to be successful, I could easily see a Creed 5, maybe even a Creed 6. So
because then if you think of it like it's spanning generations, you have Apollo Creed, and you have his son, and then you have the son's. You said his daughter's in the movie.
His daughter is in the movie.
So maybe if they want to expand storytelling, you follow her route.
Yep.
Or if Rocky had any children, I don't know for any.
Rocky does have a son.
Okay.
But his son is not a fighter.
You could still bring him in though. In some way, you could bring the son in as like a maybe a side character or something to help out the continue the father's legacy, something like that. Mm-hmm. Something like that. They make sure you do pay homage to what came before. Mm-hmm. If they don't have Sylvester Stallone in the movies. Yeah. Something you could do.
Yeah. Well, I know, like from what I've seen, I saw, I think it was in Creed 2, like Sylvester Stallone's character, Rocky, he has, almost like an estranged relationship with his son. I guess because of all the time Rocky spent training and boxing. So, I would have to, I guess it would be kind of trying to figure out how to bring his son in. Because like I said, I know at the end of Creed 2, they reconciled. So maybe you can do something with that. But yeah, I thought that was really interesting. The Creed verse. I'm definitely excited about them expanding this universe, whether it's called the Creed verse or the Rocky verse. I am very excited. I think this is a very good platform for Michael B. Jordan. Definitely going like video games, anime, TV shows, movies. Like if he's able to pull this off, I think that's going to definitely elevate him. And I think that's great to see with a black actor. And one thing I do want to say, we can go ahead and transition. We're talking about Michael B. Jordan. If he's able to pull this off, I'm wondering where that puts his Static Shock movie and his Black Superman movie. Because I'm feeling like with this success of Creed 3, he directed it, he starred in it, highest grossing sports movie, It's already made over $100 million. I know right now DC is in a transitional phase. They're trying to figure out who's going to be writing what, who's going to be directing what. I wonder if this success, and I wonder if that's going to go ahead and just solidify that, yes, we're going to do that Static Shock movie that Michael B. Jordan has signed on for, and we're going to do that Black Superman movie as well.
I can see that. And one thing I like about Michael B. Jordan, like you mentioned, he has a lot of hands in different pots. He's director, actor. He let it be known that he loves anime. He loves pop culture. He loves culture. I like that in the Black Panther movie that his role of Killmonger, his Killmonger outfit resembles Vegeta from Dragon Ball Z. It's a good thing because it shows that, for one, for some people, they look at things of anime and manga and comics as very niche and it's for kids. But you have someone like Michael B. Jordan who has embraced these things and made it part of his livelihood. And he's also showing people, including us as Black people, and that it's okay to be into these things. It's okay to embrace, things that aren't always inherently Black, and that we are multifaceted people. Now, when it comes to DC and what they're building, I think that the James Gunns and the other higher-ups can see this and say, he has proven himself. We know that he can do these things. We've already seen it. But now that this is his directorial debut with Creed 3, we can give him the reins for Static Shock and Superman. And if his Superman is Calvin Ellis or Val Zod, either one would work. I mean, it would open the door for the multiverse. I mean, we know that James Gunn talked about what he wants to do for the new DCU, with Chapter 1 being Gods and Monsters, or just the part that he shared with us. But it would open the door for, the likes of Doomsday, the monster end of it. And it opens the door for a lot of diverse storytelling, because Static comes from the Dakotaverse, and you have a lot of Milestone Media influences nowadays. We have the resurgence of Milestone Media. You have Icon and Rocket, Static, Blood Syndicate. New comics are coming out, and there are now a new current storyline is Icon versus Hardware. And now Milestone Media is about to be 30 years old, and they have a 30th anniversary special coming out in a few weeks. It's a great time to say, let's put this character on the big screen. Let's put, these characters, Static, and it could open the door for Icon. I mean, it would be nice to see Icon show up in something.
It would.
Because he's an alien.
Yeah.
So you could introduce it as Icon shows up in a Superman movie or something like that. And don't tell us that he's here. Just let him show up, because it's better to be surprised versus saying, yeah, so we have actor so-and-so playing this role. No, let us see it. And gradually introduce people who don't read comics or who don't watch the cartoon shows or play the games or whatever. But having Michael Jordan in that role, it would also open the door for other people too. More people of color, and just it makes it not just a one-sided thing, or it allows people to actually say, hey, we're represented.
Yeah, and I was trying to find it, but I had saw something where I guess someone, James Gunn is very active on social media. So someone had said something regarding the DCU, I guess, lineup. And James Gunn mentioned, we have the DC characters, we have Wildstorm characters, and we have Milestone characters. And that made me really great. It made me feel really great to hear him include Milestone, because that makes me feel like there's a place for them in DC. Because one thing for me that I have a love-hate relationship with, and it's been very frustrating, is I'm getting tired of seeing characters race bended. I understand the need to race bend some characters, but we have a lot of black characters who aren't being used. And instead of using our characters, then they just race bend a character to be black. And my main issue with that is when these characters are being put in movies and when they're being put on TV, they usually get they usually get more exposure as a character, for one, because now they're being introduced to a wider audience. And on top of that, usually they get comic book runs. So when you are race bending characters, typically the character stays the same race in the comic book. So you're using black actors and actresses to kind of uplift like white characters, because that's what ends up happening. They end up getting a push in the comic books. And a good example of that is Aquaman. So Aquaman, you know, he was portrayed in the movies by Jason Momoa, who is an Island Pacificer Samoan. And so what they did was, after that movie made $1 billion, Aquaman all of a sudden got this huge push in the comic books. And what they did was they made Arthur Curry, he was still, you know, the same white character, but they just made him, they gave him hair that looked like Jason Momoa and tattoos, but he just still stayed white. Instead of making his race reflect Jason Momoa's race. So like I said, he got a really big push in the comic books after that. He became really, you know, more popular. I ain't gonna say he became really popular, but he became more popular. And so I want to see that with, you know, our black characters. I remember I went back when Luke Cage was on Netflix, and I went back to see his comic book runs. And while his show was actively on Netflix, he had continuous comic books. And what they would do, it was like he would have like maybe a limited series, maybe 6 issues. And then once that ended, they would restart a new series for him. So, you know, that's, you know, getting his character out there more, giving his character more stories. And the more stories a character has, the more it can be adapted into TV or into movies. So, you know, I'm ready to see our black characters, you know, take the forefront. You know, like I said, I understand race bending, but, you know, give me Vixen. He's already said we're getting Jon Stewart on a TV show. Hoping to see Jon Stewart also in the movies. We need Cyborg back. You know, unfortunately, everything that happened with the DCEU, Cyborg kind of got sidelined, so we need to see Cyborg again. Bumblebee, Duncan, like you said, all the milestone characters. Like, there's a ton of milestone characters. You know, Naomi, she had the TV show, but it wasn't well received, so I would love to see Naomi come back. The Green Lantern Sojourner, I would love to see Sojourner make some type of appearance, maybe in the Green Lantern show. Like, we have a ton of black characters who have not been used at all. You even got the Bat Family. You got Signal. You got Batwing. We did see him on the Arrowverse, but would love to see him again. You have Mr. Terrific.
And you also have Still. You have John Henry Irons and Natasha Irons, who is his niece. Yep. And they're in the Superman family.
Yep. So and then you got Aqualad.
Yeah.
Jackson Hyde.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we have a lot of characters who have been missing from live action. A lot.
And let's also, you know, talk about the small screen for a second. Mm-hmm. When it comes to animation. Mm-hmm. I think when it comes to animation, like you mentioned Aqualad, like Calderon, Aqualad, and Young Justice, mm-hmm. I think it was a lot of people's introduction into the character of Aqualad and Aquaman adjacent, because they saw him as a black young man, and then you met Garth, who in the comics, Garth was Aqualad. I mean, you had more than one, but you got to see it from another perspective on the Young Justice moniker, and it also opened the door, because then people start actually paying attention to comics a little more with Young Justice. And I think it actually brings it to my next point. You have these spanning universes, like with the conclusion of Justice League Dark Apocalypse War, that opened the door for the now current universe that they're calling the Tomorrowverse, which started with Superman Man of Tomorrow, and we've also had Batman Along Halloween. Then you had Justice Society World War II, Green Lantern Beware My Power, and the most recent movie is Legion of Superheroes. That slate alone is very diverse. And I do want to say, I encourage everybody to watch this, because they're top tier movies. They're just animated. There's no division there, but they're animated movies. Like, when I finally got to see Legion of Superheroes, the post credit scene was like, I need the next movie like ASAP. The next movie is going to be a Justice League movie called Warworld. But it's good. But my point is that those movies are showing us diverse characters. You have a diverse range of actors who are playing these roles. Some people, maybe some new faces for some have come from TV shows and other animated roles. But it's a wide variety. But I think, by and large, a lot of people pay attention to what they see when it comes to live action. A lot of people say animation's for kids. That's not 100% the case. It's not. It's for everybody.
Yeah, and part of James Gunn has came out and said that he is looking at Young Justice, and I think he also mentioned Justice League as inspirations for his DCU. So, yeah, animation definitely has a really big impact. And, animation is the reason why a lot of us are in this fandom to begin with, because X-Men, the animated series, and Batman, the animated series, more specifically X-Men, that really changed everything for me as far as being a comic book fan. So, the animation definitely shouldn't be, looked down upon, because, we all, as kids, we all have, that was really like, one of our first loves was cartoons and animation. So, yeah, and speaking of animation, the new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles trailer dropped.
It's amazing.
Let me tell you something. So, I wasn't even really looking forward to it. I remember the cartoon as a kid. I loved the cartoon as a kid. And I vaguely remember the live action movies. But I do remember that the first one especially was like really popular. I haven't seen any of the remakes since then. And so when I heard about this animated movie coming, I was like, okay, But when I saw that trailer, I mean, it was perfect. That trailer was perfect. And talking about animation, to me, that trailer proved to me that everything doesn't have to be live action. Like, I feel like they always want to make something live action. I don't know if they think it gives it more validity, but when I saw that trailer, I was like, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles should always just be animated, because this is just, it just hit the feels of what I feel like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles need to be. I thought it was funny. I thought it was perfect to me. I loved it. I absolutely loved it.
So here's the funny thing. I did not know there was a trailer out. So the way I found out about it is I saw a post on YouTube. There's Andre, Black Nerd Andre.
Oh,
He is.
Black Nerd Comedy?
Yeah, Black Nerd Comedy. Yes,
Yep.
Andre. I love Andre. Let's meet you one day, sir. But I love your work. But I watched his video about the actors, and I was like, wait, there's a trailer? And then I watched it after that, and then I was like, the animation is very good.
Yeah, Into the Spider-Verse.
Yes, it's on that level. It's immaculate, as they say. It. I was like, wow. And just to seeing the amount of talent that's into it. It's a wide variety of talent. And it's like, okay, I'm behind this. Like sometimes I don't need much of a push to say, let me see this. I just need like that picture or the trailer, and I'm like, I'm sold.
Yep.
And that trailer sold me.
Yeah.
But I do want to jump back to something that you said about not everything being live action. I've been thinking about this for a while lately as it pertains to, different fandoms and things of that nature. Like, one of my favorite shows is Samurai Jack. I would love to see Samurai Jack in live action. Phil Lamar did an amazing job voicing Jack. And Mako, the late, great Mako, voiced Aku. Then, in the first 4 seasons, I believe it was Jeff Bennett did it in season 5. Please check that for me. But point being, it's a great show. It's great storytelling going from the past to the present and the future, then back to the past again to wrap up the story. It's great storytelling. It pulls from so many areas. It pulls from one of my favorite subjects, Star Wars, and just things. You have Beatles references, 300 references, and it's very good. And we're taking a look at the cast. You can look at Aku. Greg Baldwin. I was wrong.
Okay.
It was Greg Baldwin. So Greg Baldwin, he's very close sounding to Mako. And I hear his voice and I'm like, that's Aku. But if they were to make a live action Samurai Jack, I would be there. I would love to see it in a movie theater. I would support it wholeheartedly. But you cannot condense this story into a 2-hour movie. You would have to make it a series. Because one thing you do when you take something that's animated, such as Avatar: The Last Airbender, and force it into a 2-hour movie, you've cut a lot of the heart out. As the Last Airbender movie, the one we don't talk about. And I admit, I saw that movie before I saw the show. So seeing The Last Airbender without any context was okay. But when I went and watched the show, it's like, where's the heart? Where is what makes this great? But the thing I've been thinking about, back to my point, is when it comes to animation, you can do a lot more storytelling. You can do a lot in 30 minutes on a TV show. There's like a lot you can do in live action, but you're not having to build set pieces. You're not having to go to locations. You're making it. You're taking the audience with you on the journey. Like, for example, right now we have 2 Star Wars shows on right now. We have Bad Batch Season 2 and The Mandalorian Season 3. Bad Batch Season 2 continues on from not too far removed from Order 66 in Revenge of the Sith. And Mandalorian is continuing the storyline after Return of the Jedi. So on one hand, you have the Empire's rising to power, and on the other end of the spectrum, you have the New Republic rising to power. People are loving Mandalorian. But I don't see too many people talking about the Bad Batch.
I heard the Bad Batch this season's really good, though.
It is. It's really good. It's some of the best storytelling I've seen. But just like the Clone Wars and Rebels before it and Resistance, unless people... The way I think of it is like, unless you're kind of in the know or really care to actually watch it, you're not going to watch it. But as soon as you say, it's a new live action thing, people are going to watch it. Same with the MCU. I think because now people know what Marvel is doing, they know what MCU is, they're going to watch everything. So that's why when you think of an animated project like What If, people watched it because it's MCU. But if it was just another Marvel show, and it's not connected to the MCU, I don't think a lot of people would have watched it. What do you think?
I think it depends on what it is. So we were talking about this earlier about the X-Men 97 cartoon. And we were just talking about Marvel in general because, it came out that Marvel is basically slowing down production on some of their Disney Plus shows. Because, there's been some hiccups with Phase 4 and now the start of Phase 5. And so, for me, personally, I've enjoyed Phase 4. There wasn't a lot I didn't like about Phase 4. The only movie I can say I really didn't like in Phase 4 was Thor: Love and Thunder. And that's just because I felt like they rushed a very important story with Jane Foster. I thought that based on, how they presented it at the Comic-Con where they announced that, what's the actress name who plays Jane Foster?
Natalie Portman.
Yeah. How they presented Natalie Portman with Mjolnir and was like, she's going to be the new Thor. I'm sitting here like, oh, this is going to be different. Like, Jane is the new Thor, but Chris Hemsworth is still in the movie, so he's also going to be there providing support. And even from the trailers, I just really thought this was going to be Jane's story, and I felt like it wasn't. Some of my other issues with Thor, I thought it was a little too silly. I felt like I want to see more character growth from Thor. I feel like Thor hasn't really taken, at the end of the movie we see him taking responsibility of love, but we haven't really seen him step up as the new Odin. We haven't seen him, as the leader of Asgard. He kind of gave that responsibility to Valkyrie. So I want to see a mature, grown Thor. That's what I want to see. So back to my feelings on Phase 4. So outside of Thor, I've enjoyed Phase 4. I feel like Eternals got a bad rep. I really enjoyed Eternals.
Same here.
Yeah, I enjoyed the feel of the movie because I felt like, it was different than the other MCU movies, but I felt like that made sense considering we're now dealing with Eternals. We're not just dealing with like earthbound characters anymore. We're now going into the Celestials. So I can see their film having a different vibe to it. So I enjoyed it. And I thought that the scenes with Makari were some of the best speedster scenes that we've gotten across Marvel or DC. Like, the way they portrayed her and the way she used her powers in that movie was better than anything I've seen with The Flash and Quicksilver. So I enjoy Eternals. As far as the Disney Plus shows, I loved WandaVision. I loved Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I loved Loki. I loved Miss Marvel. I enjoyed Hawkeye. I didn't think it was the best, but I didn't think it was bad in a dumpster fire like people were making it. I enjoyed it. I just looked at it as like a Christmas show. It was like a holiday special for me.
That's what it felt like. I think it was. That's how the promos were. They were painting it as, this is a holiday special.
Yeah.
And Clint Barton is going home for the holidays.
Yeah, I enjoyed Hawkeye. I thought it was nice, enduring. The man just wanted to go home and be with his family. It showed a realistic portrayal of what it would be like for a human being to be a superhero, all the wear and tear on his body. So I enjoyed Hawkeye. I loved Werewolf by Night. I love the Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special. I love Spider-Man No Way Home. I'm between really liked and loved Black Panther Wakanda Forever. For one, I'll say this about Black Panther Wakanda Forever. I thought it was excellently acted. I thought the directing was great. I thought it was a overall good story, especially considering everything that they were dealing with. So, you know, I enjoyed Black Panther Wakanda Forever. My big issues, again, Thor Love and Thunder, Black Widow. And my main issue with Black Widow was I didn't like the bait and switch they did with Taskmaster. Is that his Task? Yeah. Because the whole time we saw him in costume, and I say him because it was a man's body. It was a man's body the whole time, but then all of a sudden at the end, reveal it's a woman, and I'm just like, how is this a woman? It was like a man's body the whole time. I did not like that. So that took me out. She-Hulk, the She-Hulk part of the show that I didn't like was the finale. Honestly, I wasn't a Game of Thrones person, so I didn't, I know people did not like the last episode, and for a lot of people that ruined the whole season. And since I didn't watch it, I never understood that. With She-Hulk, I understood it because I felt like that last episode of the season basically made everything that we had watched up to that point moot. Honestly, like, basically it was almost like, what was the point of us watching this season, because nothing was paid off in the end. So I didn't care for She-Hulk. So and I loved Miss Marvel. So basically for me, phase 4, there was only like 3 things I really didn't care for, and we got around 18 things. So I still see that as a success. But because, other people are kind of looking at it more like a mixed bag, now Marvel has decided we need to slow down. So Marvel was going to release around 7 shows on Disney Plus. And now, this year, the only things that they're saying they're releasing is Loki Season 2 and Secret Invasion.
I feel like you need to release Loki Season 2, given the outcome of Ant-Man and Wasp: Quantumania. You have to. Because I feel like the only things that were, at this point, connected to Loki and the storytelling and things that came to Conqueror are Loki, Season 1, What If for multiverse stories, Doctor Strange, the Multiverse of Madness, because of this multiverse, and Loki Season 2 dealing with, Kangs and whatnot. And one thing I will say about She-Hulk, as we're starting to wrap things down, is that I get it. I get the ending that people did not like because of the breaking the fourth wall and coming into reality. On one hand, I get that. I understand it because we were there for the ride and then changed. The other hand, I liked it because of the fact that She-Hulk, Jen, has done this in the comics several times, where she did not like how it was going, and then she went to the writers and said, change it. So I'm a little torn there of, like, I get that because not a lot of people have read the comics. So you're following the story that you're being presented and go with it. And on the other hand, it's paying homage to the comics that came before it. So I liked it, but I understand it. And Thor Love and Thunder, the only thing I can admit that I really remember, or the parts that I liked, that I 100% remember, is that we got to see Eternity, even though Eternity didn't say anything, because it's a cosmic being. And then we got to see Hercules in the post-credit scene. And I'm like, when's he going to show back up? But there's something you and I were talking about a few days ago about Hawkeye, bringing it back around to Hawkeye.
Mm-hmm.
How you said you did not like how, or something didn't seem realistic, that Kingpin, he got hit by the car and he got back up and started fighting again.
Mm-hmm.
I thought about it. So, stick with me here.
Mm-hmm.
We know Secret Invasion's coming out.
Mm-hmm. Mm. You think he is Skrull?
Yep. I think it's a Skrull.
That would be interesting because, and it's not even the fact that he got hit by the car and got back up. I think because we've seen the Netflix Daredevil, and so he might be a Skrull because his behavior was completely different from his behavior or even his power levels in the Daredevil show.
But he was just a human, though, right?
Yeah. He's just supposed to be a human.
Yeah, he was just...
Yeah, he's still supposed to just be a human.
He's just a strong human.
Yeah, he's a strong human. So, because even though Daredevil was a little bit different in the She-Hulk, it's still like you can still feel the character. The character didn't feel crazily different. Like, for me, Kingpin was crazy different. So you're right. Maybe he is a Skrull.
I even thought about that as it pertains to Winter Soldier movie. When Nick Fury got shot, and then we thought he died, and then we find him in the bunker, and he's just like chilling. Skrull.
Yeah. So but see, he knew. Nick Fury been knowing about the Skrull. So
we know that. But when you think about that too, it's like because they even question like, how did you survive? He's like, I'm me.
Yeah.
So it's like, what if he got injured and then he went up to that space station and healed? Yeah. And the Skrull's there in place.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, and see, that's what I'm saying. And you know what? That's a good one about Kingpin being a Skrull. And I want to, double back real quick on the She-Hulk. Like, I didn't have a problem with her breaking the fourth wall. Because I thought it was kind of cute. Especially when she, kicked out the Disney Plus logo and all that stuff. I thought that was cute. I just didn't like that, the whole season, it was about her blood. Be careful about your blood because someone can, if a drop of your blood gets on someone, they can die or blah, blah, blah. And then her blood was stolen. And then in the last episode, well, we're about to find out, okay, what's going to happen with this blood? Are we making more Hulks? She was like, yeah, I don't want to do this. I just want to have a picnic. I want to be with Daredevil. And that's what they did. I said, I know you lying. I know you lying. I know you did not have us sit here worried about this girl blood the whole time, worried about this group who was spying on her, who had this whole troll account, some incels who hated her guts for no reason other than she was a woman, and you just basically ended it with, I'm going to a family cookout, Daredevil is my boo now, because that's what I want it to be, and I don't want to worry about this blood situation.
Question for you. Do you think this is called Disney playing it safe?
I think it's called lazy writing. I think they didn't know how to end it. I don't think they knew what to do. So they said, you know what? Let's just pretend none of this happened. Seriously, that's how it came across.
I mean, the other thing, too, it was like the ending. Because Hulk came back, because there was also the mystery. Hulk went into space.
Yes.
Okay, so he went to Sakaar. Cool. Okay, so we're going back to Thor Ragnarok. Okay, cool. We're bringing it up. I want to know about that. And then he's like, oh, here's my son Scar. And I'm like, oh, so now we get Scar? Okay, that kind of overshadowed the whole plot.
Yeah.
But anywho.
Yeah. So, okay, so guys, we have 7 minutes left. So we are going to do, basically this is like a speed round. Just hitting on topics that, we want to talk about, but we have limited time. So, one thing I want to talk about. We mentioned that MCU is slowing down. So now instead of around the 6 or 7 shows that was supposed to drop, they are just doing Loki season 2 and they are doing Secret Invasion. I really hope X-Men 1997 is in there.
Same.
I loved X-Men the animated series. It just is what got me into comics. So I'm hoping that they just have not mentioned it yet, but that 97 will be included in that slate.
Same.
Okay, next subject. Okay, so a report came out. Now, this is just a rumor, y'all. This is just a rumor, so take it with a grain of salt. That they are saying that Brie Larson is upset about her not having a Captain Marvel 2 and it being an ensemble. What do you think about that really fast?
Honestly, I get it. She had her first movie. But then she was sidelined in Endgame. I'm going to have to deal with it.
Yeah, I mean, and I get it too. And
I get it.
And see, and when they announced that it was going to be the Marvels, for one, when they announced Nia DaCosta was going to be the director, and then it was going to be called the Marvels, and Monica Rambeau, played by Tiana Parrish, was going to be in it. I kind of was like, this could lead to some problems because I know that Tiana has been in a movie directed by Nia DaCosta before. So Nia DaCosta, in my opinion, is going to look out for her. You get what I'm saying? Because they already have a relationship. So maybe Brie Larson, maybe she's feeling like, it's not enough of her story anymore. I don't know. This is all speculation. But I will say this. She need to slow her roll because Rogue is on the way. They could easily just steal them powers, honey, and keep it moving if she's tripping.
Yeah, and I admit, I was joking when I said deal with it. I was just thinking about the plot that we got in WandaVision with Monica Rambeau and be like, you have a problem with Captain Marvel. What's going on? That's why I said deal with it.
Yeah.
I have no feelings about that. But, yeah, it's going to be a good movie.
Yeah, it's going to be a good movie.
And I hope people go back and watch Ms. Marvel because...
Yeah. And I hope this isn't true. I'm hoping that there's no type of drama. But like I said... Rogue is on the way, baby. And everybody wants Rogue to drain them powers.
Yes, because Rogue is needed. Rogue and Captain Marvel are synonymous. And in order for us to have Rogue as we know her, Captain Marvel has to lose the fight.
Yep, and she got to go in that coma for a little bit. So, think it over. Let cool heads prevail. Don't lose your spot, sweetie. Next,
coming out April 5th, Super Mario Brothers movie. The final trailer has dropped. It is amazing. We get to see more of Rainbow Road.
Yep.
And the best part, I can say, all of it's fantastic. But when Mario jumps over the cart onto the turtle, it goes into a shell. And I was like, that was perfect. It's like attention to detail. That movie has great attention to detail. People have mixed feelings about the cast, but I'm like, hey, it's gonna be great.
Yes, and Mario is another example of it doesn't have to be live action. I felt because I literally watching this trailer, I was like, if this was live action, would we be getting this? Would we be getting them on the Rainbow
Road?
Yeah.
No, I mean, we have the live action on the movie, and it's a good movie for what it was. I like the live action movie, but when you look at that and you look at Detective Pikachu and you look at the Sonic the Hedgehog movies, and then you have this, I have one question for you Nintendo fans and fans of video games. Are we building a Super Smash Bros. Universe? Because we have Sonic and Tails and Knuckles and Shadows coming. Detective Pikachu exists. The World Pokemon is there. The Mario movie is coming. So, can we get a letter to Smash Brothers?
Okay.
Can we get an invitation to Smash?
Now we gotta know.
All I want to know is Link coming? Is Zelda coming? Is my main Smash Brothers Samus Aran? Is she coming?
And
that's all I got.
Okay, and okay, to wrap it up, are we in a video game renaissance? Whatever, because Last of Us is hitting it on all cylinders. Love the last Sonic movie. This Mario movie looks amazing. Uncharted was meh for me.
The Uncharted games are great.
Yeah, but it could have been better.
Well, I'm saying the games.
Yeah, I know what you mean. For me, with Uncharted, for it to be what it was about, they're trying to, what are they trying to do? Like,
I still seen it. Yeah. I kind of know the plot, but
yeah, I felt like it was boring.
I still want to watch it though. But
it was boring. So I'm like, how is this boring? But anyway,
it's not Indiana Jones. And Indiana Jones 5 is coming out this summer.
Yeah, and so that's what I'm saying, y'all. This might be it. Like, this might be like the video games are coming. Video games are hitting their peak.
I mean, we have Resident Evil movies, but they're not like the games. But you can go into that route too. Video games are coming. Everything is coming.
Yep.
So that saying,
everybody in the fandom's getting fed.
Yes, and shout out to Pedro Pascal.
Yes.
He is Joel and the Mandalorian.
Yes. Love him.
I love the fact that you have him basically on 2 escort missions. One with Grogu, one with Ellie.
Yep.
It's fantastic.
And let me tell you something. The work that they're doing on The Last of Us right now, they need to get some Emmys. Him and Ellie.
Yes.
So we're less than a minute. So let's wrap it up. Close us out.
So I just want to say thank you all for tuning in. I want to say thank you for listening to the Fandom Omnibus podcast. My name is Chancellor D Cosplay.
My name is Dani.
And you all have a great day. And stick around. Come along for the journey.
Bye.